Aquarius, welcome to March of 2023. Buckle up. This is one heck of a month for you as Saturn finally leaves your sign after almost 3 years and Pluto enters it. It's nothing short of a sea change of energy that is super important. I am going to talk to you about that in the video ahead, especially for you Aquarius risings. You can listen for your sun and moon as well, but it will always be more accurate, I believe, to listen to your rising sign, given that your sun can be about father figures, purpose and career, whereas the moon can be about mother figures, your home and safety, and sometimes your body. So let's go ahead and talk about this month ahead. Wow, so much to talk about. We'll probably be here for half an hour. So to get a cup of coffee, get a tea, settle in. Number one, if you are new to my channel, before we talk about this incredibly powerful month for you guys, I am Lori Lothian, a whole sign house Hellenistic astrologer using the tropical Western zodiac. I'm a Western astrologer, and I'm also an asteroid junkie and many other things. I love fixed stars. And if you're interested in being a part of my community on Patreon for $5 a month, you're going to get all of my content that you see on YouTube ad-free, way ahead of the average everyday public. So I probably release about 30 videos a month these days, and you get them ahead of time for $5 a month. And you get 2 Zoom meetings with me plus discount codes for readings and classes, all because you join Patreon for $5 a month. Go check it out. And all the stuff in my description box to share with you about that. And Skyreader, my Be Your Own Astrologer Time Your Best Life waitlist is also available down below. Of course, we'll start mid-March. You want to get on the waitlist if you want that 8-week live class with me, because it will be full, because I will fill it up based on the wait list alone. Okay, and early bird discounts. Okay, let's get going and talk about the month ahead. Alrighty, so number one, I am an Aquarius rising, and I do use me or friends and family as examples. It helps educate, illustrate, right? So I'm going to talk about me, not because it's about me, because I'm one of you. I'm Aquarius rising. For Aquarius rising, having Saturn moving through our house of our identity ever since March, April of 2020 has felt intense and heavy. But also, we are friends with Saturn. He's the Lord of our chart. He's our Lugna Lord, our ally, our helmsman. It's the number one planet for us, okay? So we have to look at Saturn as an ally, but having him come through the house of the body made us feel tired, old, maybe concerned about wrinkles, feeling like we are more responsible, dutiful, and serious and sober-minded. And our shoulders may have been really sore for 3 years because we're carrying a lot of shouldering energies for other people, making us like hyper wise, old, responsible crone, wise woman, man energy. However, it's also a time where we reset our lives every 30 years. And as a Saturn movement through the first house every 30 years happens, it's a new plotting of the plot points of what we want in love, in career, and in where we live. So Saturn's giving us clues for the next wave of our lives. So it's not just for nothing. For example, during my 3-year transit of Saturn through my first house, my astrology channel, Lunatic Astrology, and my business was what I was doing. I built the business up then. It's when I really got going. I started the business in 2019, but 2021, 22 was like me grinding away, working hard, being disciplined, grinding, working hard, persevering, not giving up, Saturn. And also I felt kind of old and I felt kind of creaky and I had some health challenges, but I fixed those now. So it's all is well. And if you are somebody like an Aquarius rising with Saturn going through your first house, he's not trying to kill you, just trying to give you a better financial foundation, home foundation, career foundation, health foundation. All right, so that's coming to an end. March the 7th, he's gone for 30 years, never to come back again for 30 years. So if you want to feel a relief, you'll feel the relief. It'll be around the 7th of March and he's out of there, and he's going to spend 3 years in Pisces. That is your second house. My second house is our earnings house. Well, some people are afraid of Pisces in the earnings and resources house. For a Capricorn rising or Aquarius rising, do not fret, because this is the Lord of your sky, and he will help you. It will help you create strong, dependable, reliable, lasting financial foundations for your life. So this is not something to be afraid of at all. Now, there are conditions in which Saturn can cause more trouble there, but in general, we're talking about a transit through Pisces where he's going to help us make some of that Neptune dreamy stuff that's been going through our second house of earnings since 2011, where we felt like we were so floaty on enlightenment that maybe we couldn't get really down with the what we're supposed to be doing story. And this could really have opened up some channels in your life. So did I just pause and say nothing to you guys for like several seconds? I think I did. So anyway, I was trying to turn off that dinging sound on my computer and I thought I'd pause the recording and I don't think I did. So I was like looking to figure out where my do not disturb button was. That was weird. I apologize about that. You're like, what the hell? Did you just freeze on me? Okay, so I think I've got the do not disturb working. Hang on. I apologize for my spacey look there. Yeah, is it properly do not disturbing? It is. Okay. I heard a dinging. I tried to turn it off. So anyway, next of all, for you guys, for us, once we get this Saturn transit started on March the 7th through to the end of the year, Saturn is making it to the 7th degree of Pisces. So just keep that in mind, even though, it involves a sort of leveling up, responsible, and maybe more foundational energy around finances and savings and earnings and resources and possessions. It may impact the early born Aquarius as anything in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius rising with your ascendant degree, or 10 degrees with your sun and moon. Anything that 0 to 10 degree range, these guys get more impact than everybody else. And so that's just how that works, Next of all, I would say think about your money differently during the month of March. You're going to start to feel that you have to be, you'll feel a lot more conservative. You won't be taking any kind of bold stock market risks, for example. You won't be putting all your money down on, casino slots or something like that. You're really going to be more, I guess I would say, a preserver of your money than you are a spender of your money. You'll find that you're tight in your pocketbook. And although Saturn is about antique, Saturn is about like high-end clothing, so I'll give you an example from me, just an illustration, unlike that troll who told me to stop talking about myself. It's an illustration. Even as Saturn's preparing here to go into March's transgression into movement into the second house, I went to a clothing party the other day by a very wealthy designer woman who was selling her designer items at like a 20th of the cost. And so I picked up a really lovely cashmere sweater that was barely used from Barney's, New York, for example, and a fancy coat for hardly any money. That's the kind of thing you're going to do. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to buy that, like lasting stuff, possessions that last. But you're going to do it with a conservative preserving of your money focus. So don't be afraid of Saturn here. He'll make you rich. And why is that? Well, partly because number 2, Jupiter, this is what we're talking about for March. Jupiter is also playing a role as we start March 7th to the end of the month, because Jupiter is getting ready, getting prepared to move into Taurus in May. But before that, which will make us rich. So before that happens, Jupiter is busy expanding, moving through, amplifying, extending the part of our sky, alrighty, that represents the Aries chunk of real estate. And in that part of your sky, which is your natal 3rd house, what you're trying to do is get rich online in your local neighborhood, expand your wealth and bounty with siblings or through trips and travel, and just have a lot of joy there. But I just want to keep you abreast of the longer arc, because then Saturn will sextile Jupiter all the way through the middle of May at a year. And that is a bounty of goodness as Saturn helps bring financial form to opportunities from your 4th house, property, land, real estate, mortgages, buying, selling. I mean, honestly, looks like the ability to purchase or get amazing like mansion or castle or some goodness of family legacy wealth, or a parent giving you money. Whew, sorry, I had a hot flash trying to take off my socks. Okay, so that's that. Next, I want to talk about Pluto. Pluto takes 248 years to go around the zodiac, and he's moving into your and my our 1st house. This is our identity, our body, and our sense of self. Honestly, Pluto's power and wealth. People are afraid of Pluto. That's because he brings transformation and regeneration. But let's be also serious. You've already had Pluto through your 12th house, right? Me too, since 2008. And therefore, we have done all the deep soul work, the evolutionary work, karmatic clearing, the deep, profound soul work needed to be able to hold the power of Pluto in the house of our body. It's a tremendous archetype of energy, of power, of transformation. It's like having a nuclear reactor in our bodies, like in a good way, powered up, fission, fusion. We're like the reactors here. And in order for us to contain and hold and transmute and use Pluto power, which is about wealth, which is about power, which is about intensity, we have to have done that soul work that he prepared us for for 14 years moving through Capricorn. And let's be clear, we coded to be born now, Aquarius people. This is why we're here. We coded to land here now because we are one of the people, Aquarius rising especially, who coded to have a transit of Pluto from 2008 to 2023 to 2023, March to 23rd, 2023, through the house of our 12th house. So now we're ready and prepared for this transit of Pluto through our first house. Anyone who's a Capricorn rising has already gone through this. So it would help all of us Aquarians to find a few Capricorn rising friends and talk to them about how that worked for them. For example, one of my favorite young astrologers, Maren Altman, I believe is a Capricorn rising, and she's been going through the transformation of Pluto through the house of her. She's very, very, very successful in her YouTube channel, but also in her crypto trading and other things. And for a woman in her 20s, which is profound, she's a powerhouse. There are stories you can find from Capricorn rising people in your life. Ask them how the last 14 years have gone. Did some of them fall under the wheels of the bus of this transit? Maybe. It depended on how well you handled Pluto in your 12th house. So as an Aquarius rising, when Pluto was going through my 12th house, I had two spiritual awakenings, one in 2011, one in 2018. My Awakened Dreamer blog, the Awakened Dreamer blog, Google it, is where I wrote about all my spiritual transformation through that transit of Pluto in my 12th. So some of us will feel this is intensity that is welcome. We're ready for the new energy and the new power. Pluto just tiptoes into the 0 degrees in the month of March on the 24th, and he'll be there until June 11th. It is a trial run, a dress rehearsal, a foretaste, an appetizer of what's to come when in 2024 he sticks a landing in our house of Aquarius and will be here until 2044. So yeah, this is a big month. We have Saturn exiting our arena of us and Pluto entering. So I can only tell you that I don't know how it's going to feel to have Pluto in our first house. Let's all talk about it in the comments, okay? Because I am only going to wait and see. And if your ascendant is anywhere, let's say in the first 3 degrees of Aquarius, or your sun and moon, it's more intense. But let's remember, sun is dad, moon is mom, Pluto and dad, Pluto and mom. It may not even be about you. Get your rising sign down. Go on to my description box, check your how to cast your chart in whole sign houses using free online software. You will need your time of birth to create a natal chart, okay, that has your rising sign. Alrighty, and rising degree. Let's keep moving. What else is going on this month that we should know about if we are Aquarians and we want to get the most out of this month? Well, first of all, Mars is also changing sign. Yeah, it's a big, big month. It got like 5 planets changing signs this month. This huge energy of shift. Mars is leaving Gemini, Mars and Gemini in our house of children and romantic love, independent business and entrepreneurial enterprise, as well as money luck. Mars has been here since August 20th of 2022. He did a retrograde as well. October 30th to December 12th. What is it like to have a very once in a lifetime 7-month transit of Mars to our 5th house? For me, it was an on and off, back and forth romance that I don't think the universe had a sense of humor. We took off full blast with Mars in my 5th house in the summer of 2022, and it retracted and contracted when he went retrograde in November, October 30th till now, right? And then, I'm not going to tell you all my love life stories, but I get the idea. Also, my children. I changed the nature of the relationship I have with my children. Mars is a god of change, particularly with my daughter, and in a good way during this Mars transit. Some of you may have denested children, had fights with children, difficult romantic fights and arguments, started up a hot romance, but maybe it didn't last. A lot of things may have happened there. But Mars is leaving the 5th house. All right, he's heading out of there. He'll be gone on the 26th of March. So it's the end of a story that's taken 7 months to unfold. And so just get ready to see like the rear view mirror effect by the end of March as Mars hightails it out of there and says adios to us for once and for all. I feel like what we'll sense about this change is that we will be less conflicted, uncertain around stories to do with children, independent business enterprise, money luck, like buying, gambling or stock markets or lottery tickets, and we'll be a lot less uncertain when it comes to love stories as well. Mars is about motive, willpower, and directionality. He's going forward and he's leaving full on, full speed. And some of what I've just said may have been obvious to you around January 12th onward as Mars went direct, and you begin to feel like you had clarity. And a metaphor would be like an ice skater spinning on the ice. Again, Mars is a hockey player, but whatever, spinning on the ice, and then coming out of that spin and moving forward with your new direction starting in January. And so a lot of us already know where we're headed, okay, with regards to all the themes of the fifth house. But just know that is a huge shift of energy that we're all going to get in the month of March for us Aquarius people. Now, there's some other stories going on, the little micro stories of planetary ingresses before we drill down into some dates. One of the things is March the 3rd to the 18th, we'll have Mercury in Pisces. For us, the natal Pisces sky is our second house where Saturn will be. This is our earnings, possessions, and resources. And you know what? Mercury is marketing and merchandising, selling and buying, and sometimes just news. So we maybe experience some interesting news because Saturn will be there too, right? After the 7th, that is going to give us some long-term perspective on financial gains and earnings. We may buy a possession that we really wanted, but we're conservative. Saturn will be there, or sell something that we no longer need because we're being realistic and practical. But whatever, that's just kind of a buy sell. And now if you make any money online, like I do, and this is a house of speech, might be very busy producing spoken content. And finally, the second house can be about food styles. And with Saturn coming into this part of our sky for 3 years, yes, March of this year to February of 26, we'll be more conservative in our food. This means like leaning out, eating less, getting rid of the vape, the nicotine, the wine habit, or anything that we put in our mouth that is not good for us, as well as taking care of our teeth. And that would probably look like dental work or something like that. That's quite significant maybe in the next 3 years. Don't be afraid of it though. Saturn is the lord of your body and it will all go very well. Then later on in the month, March the 19th through April the 4th, which is my birthday, everyone. Happy birthday, April 4th to me. Mercury, the messenger of the gods, will move into Aries, which is our third house. So we're going to feel around that shift around the 19th. And this is really good for doing a lot of stuff online to do with broadcasting, marketing, selling, promoting. I will be teaching. It's a house of skills-based education. I will already be teaching my Sky Reader course during the middle of March onward. So speaking, teaching, writing online. It's really good for trips and travel. Mercury is a protector of travelers on the road. The third house is trips and travel. Maybe robust communication with a youngest sibling or siblings in general, or aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews will be highlighted with Mercury in your third house. You'll be busy, that's for sure, because Mercury will make you very active there, and it is often a catered house full of the daily work we do, the daily grind, and you've got a lot of mercurial juice along with Jupiter, and Jupiter's still there, as I said, until the middle of May. So Mercury and Jupiter together are really good things to do energetically with expansion in communications or selling or marketing areas of life. And if you're wanting to write something, this is a writing house. Mercury is good for that. And Jupiter blesses the writing that you do. If you do any writing of any kind, good time to build a website, develop a website, all of that kind of stuff as well. Put out a new social media content platform for yourself that you haven't used before. Maybe I'll finally get the nerve to do shorts. I haven't figured out how to do shorts yet. Like I know how to make a short video, but like what I'd actually purpose it for in a meaningful way here on YouTube land. Moving forward then, another point of the sky that we should talk about is Venus, and Venus in the month of March on the 17th through to the end of the month, actually through to April 11th, will move into her home sign of Taurus. Now she's in Aries before that, which is, keeping you really busy in that third house that we talked about, the trips, the travel, the siblings, the online selling, marketing, the writing, all of that. And then she's going to move into her home sign. Now she's dignified in Taurus and she brings good things when she's in her home sign. She's a goddess that also involves luck and opportunity. So what kind of luck and opportunity and good things can show up to do with home, property, land, and real estate, family of origin, maybe your mom, or even things to do with your childhood home or childhood homeland. So these Venusian loving energies show up March 17th to April 10th. It's a soft yearly transit. It's quite sweet. It's quite lovely. And as she's going through here, March 17th to April the 11th, she will talk to Saturn. And that is a sort of interesting time as well. I mean, Saturn moving through our second house in the early degrees, right? Talking to Venus. So especially around St. Patty's Day, then March 17th to maybe about 2 weeks in the first, maybe March 17th to the 27th. Saturn is about things that last, things that are enduring. and things that are realistic. And Venus is about love and beauty. What is going on here between your earnings and possessions house and your home and real estate house do with lasting or realistic beauty, etc. So I don't know, for some of you, you might buy a home, sell a home. Some of you might redecorate a home, buy a beautiful new painting that will last 1,000,000 years to go in your home. These are the themes that could happen in that time frame. And, you never know. I mean, for some of you, it could be having the money available that you need in order to maybe sell a home or buy a home, because, Venus here is in dignity and Saturn is in the house of possessions. And so if that was going to happen, and at all, and it could happen, it definitely would be during such a window as this. Alrighty, moving on. And I'm just in the back end of my software because I want to move a chart backwards here. So give me a sec if you don't mind. While I take a breather on the forecast and move this chart out of the months and into the days, I want to just check in terms of another position around the 17th in the real-time sky. And so what I'm looking at is I can't really show you this because it would be useless to keep your eyeballs on this while I'm doing the reading, but hang in there. Thank you, by the way, if you're in the live premiere, for being here with me, or if you're new to my channel. And please, all of you new to my channel in the live premiere or not, please consider hitting my like button. It's a broken record on YouTube, but that like button is an algorithmic jumpstart for all channels. And the more you hit the like button, the more the channel grows. The more you subscribe, the more the channel grows. And I could really use that growth support because this is my passionate purpose. And if you guys are cheering me on, I'm more inspired to continue. Alrighty, so I just wanted to see if there's any chance of also a new opportune lease or rental. And yeah, there is. I wasn't thinking about, my brain wasn't fully on, but when Mars moves into your 6th house of tenancies and rentals, which will happen at the end of March the 26th, and you have Venus here until April the 11th, for some, and with Saturn in your 2nd house, that kind of combination can also look like a rental lease situation that's very positive, as well as potentially purchasing and buying and selling. Alrighty. And it can be a short-term lease too. It could be like you're going to rent your property out because you're traveling, but I'm just saying those things are very super duper juiced up and getting good feedback from the sky. Alrighty, let's go on and keep talking about the rest of the month of March. There's an interesting time around January 13th when Juno, the goddess of committed love and marriage, moves into your 3rd house of trips and travel. And this 13th of January to March 11th is a whole story that goes on through most of the month of to the 11th of March. So Juno's been there in Aries from January 13th to March 11th, but then she shifts, and on March 11th, she's going to move into Pisces. And there is, did I say Pisces? Oh my God, let me pause the button and just take a look at Juno. Give me a sec, brain went off. I'm back. I meant Taurus because you can't go all the way backwards. Okay. So Juno will move into the sign of Taurus, on March 11th to May the 2nd. And I don't normally always talk about her, but she's doing some interesting things with Saturn, the Lord of the Aquarian sky. She will be in a sextile to Lord Saturn between the 2nd house of possessions, earnings, money, and resources, and Juno agreements and contracts with binding, lasting vows. So marriage or business contracts or partnerships. And with Juno moving through this Taurus part of your sky starting March 11th, forming a sextile to Saturn, you could say there are agreements being made around real estate, property, and land, or that are lasting and important, or around a relationship of some sort, a commitment, a vow, an agreement to commit or to make something really solid or lasting. Just a thought. But because she's in the 4th house Taurus, it may also be very much actually about property and home and real estate agreements and vows as well. So it does not have to be about romance or love. Alrighty, as we go forward and we micro niche into some of the little events that are happening during this month, we're going to try to chronological order it for you. 1, Venus and Jupiter come into this month of March co-joined, holding hands, last few days of February and the first 3 days of March. It's called a conjunction. It's going to be important because when the lesser benefic and the greater benefic come together, and check out my video just on that topic. It'll be out shortly, just before or after this video. when they do come together, we want to pay attention. It's like double your luck, double your money, although there could be also considered to be a planetary war. In India, they would say they're vying for the top spot, but they're also joining forces. So that March 1st, that March 2nd energy of the greater benefic and the lesser benefic is a critical sky story in the sign of Aries. This can bring you a boon or a bust out, a bit of luck to do with your trips and travels stories, your siblings, your short distance travel anywhere, things to do with your online world, your writing, communicating, and marketing and selling. Look for this like love up in the sky around that last couple of days of February, first 3 days of March. Really juicy time. And this is happening around 12 degrees. So if your Aquarius rising is anywhere near 12 degrees or sun and moon, it's even more auspicious as it flows right back to that part of your sky. Then as we move forward towards the 6th and 7th of March, the sun will sextile Uranus. Now, this is happening at 15 degrees of Taurus, and this is a hot spot anyway. This has been an intense midpoint, 14, 15, 16 degrees, 17 degrees for a long time, as Uranus has been in that zone of Taurus, breaking up stagnation and causing turbulence in areas of reality that don't like to change. Taurus is a fixed sign. That's your home life. You may have noticed as an Aquarius rising, going back as far as March of 2019, that you've been moving around a lot, changing your home. Or maybe that was March of 2018, sorry, but then full time he got there in March of 2019. Nomad transit, disruptions to home life, where you're living, property, real estate, things are in flux. So this 50-degree Uranus will sextile the sun in the sign of Pisces. Again, positive flow between property, home, land, and real estate, and the sun, the solar energy in an earnings and possessions house. We're looking at something good trying to happen here. There's no doubt about it. And it looks like you may have some up level, but sudden, unexpected, and positive, surprising news and information around property and money. And looks positive to me, to say the very least. If you're like me, you do internet stuff at home. Uranus could be the internet from home, and the sun could be a financial boost through something you're doing on the internet. I got asked to do what do you call it? Like an affiliate sponsor promoter of a meditation app called Aura, and I'm going to check into it to see if I like it. So I have a free trial, and if I love it, maybe that's what that's about. I would only promote something I actually enjoy. Then later, as we move into the future, I want you to think about how I talked about March 6th and 7th connecting to March 10th and 11th or so. That's because Mercury follows the sun and also sextiles Uranus from the second house. And I don't know, that could very well look like something to do with signing contracts, agreements, and documents regarding something unexpected and financial exciting opportunity that may or may connect to something you do from home or to do with home, property, land, and real estate. All of those are possible. All right, continuing on with the story. I need to prop up the pictures here so I'm not staring down all the time. Okay, I think that'll work. Continuing on with this narrative, we do want to talk a little bit about an intense window between March the 10th and around March the 10th and all the way through to about the 13th, 14th, 15th. And what we're happening in that window of time is we have a pile up of action. First of all, Venus is sextiling Mars, which is always a nice flow between the cosmic lovers. That Venus-Mars sextile happening on the 10th to the 12th is going to bring around 23 degrees of the various placements. So Mars is at 23 degrees of Gemini and Venus is at around 23 degrees of, double check my math, where is she? Of Aries. Yeah. And that flow between those two could bring a lot of flow around a romantic trip, a leisure trip, a new pleasurable form of exercise, something you want to do with a sibling, something you want to promote online, something you want to do to up-level your independent business, an assist or help from a friend or ally who's female in getting things to go forward with your children, love, romance, or independent business. And this is just a nice flowing energy in that window of the 10th to the 12th of March. And then also at the same time, that's when Juno will sextile Saturn. And that's at the 0 degrees, Saturn at zero degrees of Pisces in your earnings house and Juno at 0 degrees of Taurus. A lot of looking like you guys are getting some kind of real estate money plan thing going during this time frame. There's a little confusion around the 13th and 14th of March that you have to watch out for. Neptune square Mars. Mars sometimes acts like a defogger, so you can see clearly, cuts the fog away to defog what Neptune's up to. Neptune has been in Pisces, your earnings and resources house, for a while, and possessions. Mars is squaring Neptune from Gemini. So there could be some clarity emerging outside of the fog of confusion. Mars has been squaring Neptune now on and off twice before, since August of 2022, and therefore there's nothing new here, right, under the sun. This is something you've been dealing with. This is at 25 degrees of these signs of Pisces and Gemini, so your second and fifth house. It's kind of like, to me, if there's been any kind of confusion around your finances, your resources, or addictions, Mars is helping you streamline that and get really clear about what it is you want, or what direction and action and motive and willpower needs to be applied to clear up confusion, illusion, and obfuscation around food styles, things you put in your mouth, resources, and possessions. Alrighty, and then moving forward from the 15th to the 17th, the sun will be in a conjunction to Neptune. This is a hugely spiritual energy. This can be very, very transcendent, but it is also in your second house of earnings. Sun Neptune could be a moment of YouTube fame, or, Instagram Reels taking off, Neptune Reels videography. Sun is the solar light there, shining brightly, the 15th and the 17th, putting the spotlight on money. And also, Sun will also burn off the fog that Neptune has. So you're going to have some money clarity, pivotal money clarity, I guess I'd call it, 15th to the 17th as well. Then Mars, and then Venus will sextile Saturn on March the 18th. That's a lot of love between those two. March the 18th or so, okay, to the 19th. That's a nice time to find Venus in harmony with Saturn, because Saturn is your Lord, right? He's the guy who's got your back, and he's got your best interest in your earnings house in mind, right? It's his job to make sure you have good financial earnings and things go well. And Venus is in dignity in your fourth house, and she gets along with Saturn. That's a lot of reasons why I won't get into. They're working together for enduring, lasting financial resolve and love, or things to do with money and earnings and home and property and what you do in and from your home. Like, it's just so flowy. And all said and done, it lasts to some really good financial outcomes for you and during that 18th or so. And, it's also at the same time during the 18th and 19th, when Mercury will come into a conjunction with Jupiter. So there's a lot going on around the 8th. Sorry, that's later in the month. I apologize. That's later in the month. We're jumping ahead to March the 28th. March the 28th, Mercury will co-join with Jupiter. Jupiter in Aries, right, until the middle of May. Mercury catches up with him. This is great for marketing, merchandising, and selling. This is great for a huge bounty of income or something through messages and information or news, or if you're teaching something you're teaching, or if you're learning something you're learning, sort of sending rays of bounty and expansion and goodness into your sky. On March the 30th to the 31st, or good news from a sibling or aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew, okay? Or a chance opportunity to travel to see a sibling, or vice versa, around March 28th. And then on March 30th and 31st, Venus will co-join with Uranus. Venus and Uranus connecting is a money surprise, or a love surprise, or an exhilarating money and love moment, because Venus is holding fort in Taurus. It is her home sign. She is strong. Uranus has been causing chaos in her kingdom. She comes over and talks to him on the 31st at 16 degrees of Taurus. This is a very strong Venus, so she knows how to deal with Uranus, okay? So it's very positive, stick the landing, home, property, real estate, legacy wealth, inheritances, support financially from a friend, a female friend coming to visit you in your home, but giving you some positive surprises, March 30th to 31st, or love close to home with some exhilaration in it. Vibe out on that, meeting a new love person, like falling in love with someone who lives like down the street from you, or something like that, or being able to capitalize on real estate by selling or buying something in a very exciting and very luscious and prosperous way. March the 31st, Mars will trine Saturn. Saturn, your Lord, gets a love up from Mars, who's now slipped into Cancer, where he's not so strong, but he's in the house of his joy. So Mars in your natal sixth house is loving up, opening up the doors for property leasing and renting as for an example, or pets or things to do with small animals that you could stick in your home. I guess you could include a goldfish, small animals that go in your home. Mars is also saying to Saturn, who is in Pisces, what we're doing here is going to be about work and money as well, or health and food styles. So health and food styles breaking through in a positive way, March 31st, or money and earnings and work, financial upgrades, and a lot of determination to work hard in order to make this money that you can make in this kind of dynamic go-getting flow between the God that preserves your wealth and Mars, who's go-getting to get that money because you're working hard at something. Okay, so look forward to that finale on March 31st with Saturn being loved up by Mars in your 6th house Cancer zone. Okay, thanks guys for listening. And there's probably a really long video. I'm trying not to make these extraordinarily long. I hope that you enjoyed that. I'll see you soon. Don't forget, if you're watching the live premiere still, oh no, I don't do a premiere on these ones. If you're listening for the first time, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Please check out all my offerings in the description box below. Where's the description box? It's underneath the title of the video, even on an iPhone. You just click the more button and it drops down. And I've got like a lot of info. People say, how do we get a reading with you? I'm like, check my website out. It's in my banner and it's in the description box below. I think that people don't know that YouTube has a description box below every video that you can go check everything out that the person you're listening to has to offer. All right. Thanks, guys. Ciao, ciao.